You've got to stop letting other people decide your life. You have to take your power back. In this video, you'll learn why you're actually indecisive and how to make yourself way more cutthroat when you take your own decisions and stop delegating them to other people. My name is Alex. I'm a somatic and mindfulness coach, and I have been exactly where you are today. I used to be super indecisive in the past. And this was particularly affecting my relationships, and that meant both my friendships and my romantic relationships. So this manifested in many ways, but you will recognize yourself probably in one of those. So for instance, when I used to send texts to the guy I liked or something important, I used to always screenshot and send this to my friends or to my best friend and check what they thought I should answer. This kind of made me unsure myself about what I should be answering in these cases. But that kind of behavior is really problematic because it turns out that it's not me that was answering the messages from the person. It was my friend. So that's one of the ways it manifests. Another way, for instance, is you have to pick a place for lunch and you're going with a friend and that friend has a strong personality. Or, for instance, they have a strong preference about something they want. And me being a little bit cool, okay with everything, then I will just go with the flow. But at no point in time did I ask myself, what did I really want? What was really the thing that I wanted that day? And it just was on autopilot. It's not something I was aware of. It just happened, I mean, I would just go with the person. I would be chill. I kind of go with the flow. But the problem is you never stop and ask yourself, what do you really want? But the thing is, it also affected more major decisions. For instance, at one point, I had to choose a career path. I had an offer from another organization from the one I used to work in. And I really was puzzled. What should I do? What should I decide between these two organizations? So instead of myself delving into that decision and looking for what I feel about it, I asked a million of people about what they thought. And at the end, I went with one of the advices that I had received. But truly, it wasn't really the intuition that I followed. I followed another person's opinion on what I should be doing. So it impacts major decisions in your life, but it starts with the small ones. Because if you're used to delegate your decisions on even the smallest things, then of course it will happen also on the large decisions. So why was I doing this is because I was kind of afraid to do something wrong. And I wanted to protect myself by double checking with other people and get the maximum amount of opinions before kind of taking an informed decision. But that's not really the case. What was happening is that I was not really taking the decision myself, because no one else is really in my position. So nobody else can really understand what's my perspective, what's my preference, and what the right choice would be for me. There is another reason why this is a really, really bad idea to do this over time again and again. Why? Because it reinforces by small incremental amounts that your intuition is not to be trusted, that whatever you're thinking is not important. And it just overall loses your habit to check in inside of yourself about the decision you're about to make. And in addition, if you're a people pleaser, like I used to be, it's part of the pattern you're having because you're used to validate your decision outwards, or you're looking for validations from others on whatever you do, basically. You're constantly checking outside of yourself for what you should be doing instead of looking inward. So with all this pattern, what happens is that you completely lose your ability to recognize your intuition. And this is like a muscle. It's something that you can train over and over again. However, if you lose the habit, then you will lose the ability to do it. But you can gain it back again. So let's look into how you can actually recognize your intuition. So if you've been people pleasing for a while, like I used to be, going back to your intuition can be hard. When you ask yourself this kind of point blank question, what do I want? Maybe sometimes nothing comes up, like a total blank. It's like, I don't know what I want. I know this feeling. It seems like you don't have anything that comes up, like you're weird, like you're just unable to have your own self inside. So I would like to reassure you on two things here. Every single human being, including you, has intuition. It's like a basic human setting, if you wish. But it's just a matter of understanding and recognizing how this intuition is different from other things that come up, like your thoughts or your beliefs. And the second thing is that intuition is always sending you in the right direction for you. Only for you. It doesn't apply to anybody else. It really just functions for yourself. And by knowing this, you then start understanding why asking somebody else's opinion about what you should be doing makes absolutely no sense. It's like having two different paths, and one person, for that person, that path would make sense, but for you, it might not at all. So it makes you just confused. It gives you many options. It gives you many ideas about what to do, but it takes you further away from your own path, from your own decision. So once again, makes absolutely no sense at all to ask other people for advice. So now that we know why it's important to follow the intuition, let's look into how you can actually distinguish it from everything else happening in your head, because I know there's quite a lot in there. So as a first characteristic, intuition is a kind of knowingness. It comes all at once. It's not sequential. If you can compare it to a thought would be like when you're talking, like when you're expressing a logical sequence of causality and effect, right? So it's like a logical sequencing. Intuition comes all at once. It just drops on you. It's like a whole knowing, not a sequential thing that unfolds like a thought would do. So intuition does not reason, it just shows you the way. Another key characteristic is that intuition provokes a very calm sensation in your body. It's actually very pleasant to feel your intuition. It feels good to you when you sense it. As opposed to sometimes thoughts, if they are fearful thoughts or if there are thoughts about the worst case scenario that could happen, they might provoke the opposite effect. They might create anxiety. They might create a little bit of a heartbeat or some unpleasant sensation in your body. So look for those kind of signs. Intuition will never feel bad to you, or it will never feel anxious. So although the thing that it tells you might be something that you might be afraid of, when you tune in into that feeling of the intuition, it will feel good. Then down the road, maybe you'll be afraid to actually take that leap. But the feeling itself that tells you do this, it will feel good. Okay, another very important characteristic for intuition, it's not always logically explainable. It's actually one of the best ways to know this is your intuition. Because something that is your thoughts will always be logical, and basically what it does, it takes all your previous experience and it compiles it into a logical way forward, because that's what it knows. Thoughts is a compilation of data from your past, although even there you can question whether the collection of data is accurate, because we all have biases and beliefs around whatever happened to us. But in any case, even if you take it as if we are neutral towards what happened to us, we only know what happened to us before. So the potential for the future is limited by what you lived in the past. So that's why thoughts are always this quite restrained way of seeing the future. Whereas intuition will have a very open way to look at the future, looking to possibilities which might never be in your past, or something that you never been able to imagine even actually. So that's why intuition might not make sense at all. A good way to see intuition is imagining it like a voice of your higher self. Your highest self has your whole path in its vision from above. So it sees you like you're on a map, and it sees you in the labyrinth, and it knows exactly how you should be going out. So it will guide you through it because it knows the whole path. And it will tell you something accurate, even if while you're here and you have this tunnel vision inside of it, you don't feel that this is the the right thing to do, but it just knows that it is. And then finally, very important to understand is that intuition is intimately personal to you. So I was describing this sensation of knowing, but how does it manifest exactly will be very specific to your own way, because some people have a very visual imagination. So for instance, I have visualizations that come up, or sometimes it's just a general knowing. But some other people have completely different ways of connecting to their intuition. First of all, it can show up in the body. It can feel somewhere in the body, in the heart. Some people I heard say in the hands, or it can feel like just a pulling, a gentle pulling forward and towards a certain choice. Like when you imagine that choice, you have a feeling, this is right. This is kind of one of the ways that you can know that this is your intuition. Some other people even have other physical sensations like olfactive or hearing. Maybe they hear something. So this is very, very personal to you. It usually connects to what's your preferred way to integrating information. That is very likely very much personal to your own way of functioning. So don't take any guidelines as this is how it should be, as something that's supposed to supersede what you actually feel as being the intuition. So that's the point here, actually. So on intuition particularly, I really invite you to trust your own self and to discover and realize what intuition means to you. These are just some indications that I throw out here, so just kind of point you in that direction, but I would like you to be empowered and really follow your own path and your own feeling of what intuition means to you. So how now to learn to stop delegating decisions to others? So I will say the same thing that worked for me, and that is starting small. Yeah, I know it sounds boring, but actually it is the best way to learn, because you will not go and beat the boss 100 level from starting at level 0, right? So that's the same here. Don't go take a huge life-changing decision when you don't even yet have a correct or accurate understanding of what your intuition feels like. It takes some time to explore first before going and using it. Try something that doesn't have very high stakes, like mundane, small situations where you feel comfortable starting to test your intuition out. So that could be, for instance, just like a walk in the forest or a walk outside and following your intuition when there is a crossroads, so taking a left or right. That guides you on a physical walking path, and you'll realize the interesting thing there is then once you start listening to your intuition on these kind of decisions, for instance, use this right path instead of the left, you will start noticing things more because you are starting to pay attention. What does the intuition lead me to do here? So what is around me that actually is the reason why I'm here? So you're starting to become way more attentive to your surroundings, and everything just becomes more fun because it's like a game, right? So you're starting to feel into the intuition at every point and like, oh, I want to go there. Why do I want to go there? I have no idea, but let's go. Let's see what's there. And suddenly maybe you find something unexpected. Because again, intuition is about unexpected outcomes, not something you would have expected to see. So again, that's where intuition is interesting. It's something that's not based on your own previous experience. And you will experience that even in such a small thing like walking at the random when you go for a walk. Then another thing you could do is obviously using that for when you have to choose a place to go for drinks or a lunch place when you go see some friend or your partner. There, really see what appeals to you. For that, take a break before answering. So the other person might suggest a place to go. Before going, yeah, sure, for sure, that's great, let's go wherever you want, wait and just pause. What do you feel like doing? If you even feel like going out at all, that's the first question to ask yourself. But imagining that you're okay to see that person that day, what exactly is that you want to do with them? What does feel right? And offer that to them. Then, of course, maybe there is a compromise to be done afterwards, but at least they know what you feel like and they might adjust themselves and meet you halfway. So at least there is a combined decision, not just an overpowering, one-sided decision that doesn't really apply to what you want. Another thing you can test it on is picking your destination for holidays or things like that. So this is also very fun because it's not very high stakes, but maybe it will bring to you something that you didn't expect. Maybe you'll meet somebody you didn't expect or something else completely. So just give it a chance and follow your intuition even for things like that. So once you're comfortable and you're able to recognize your intuition in those scenarios, that's where you can start using it on your relationships. That's the hardest part, of course, because a lot of feelings come in play. And feelings might sometimes cloud your intuition because they're more powerful sensations in the body. Feelings can sometimes be like a huge wave, whereas intuition is like this deep underlying current under the wave. So they might cloud your intuition, and for you, if you are not able to recognize it even in a calm situation, then it will be very difficult to go there. That's why I was saying starting small and test intuition in these small, low-stakes situations. Once you become more comfortable, that's where relationship could start to be an interesting ground. And there, the most important thing is see if when you feel the need to ask the opinion of somebody else to answer or to find the right way to be with the person or your partner, that's where it's important to stop and ask yourself, what do I really need here? And don't look for the very strong feelings that are on top of you, like right now, that are maybe anger, frustration, or it may be just passion and wanting to be with this other person. But just below all that, what is the deep sensation that you have, this knowingness that you have? What does it say? And that's what should guide you as well in your relationships, to be able to separate those feelings that are strong emotions from the intuition that is a calm knowingness in the bottom. Important also to understand is that we all have, in addition to strong feelings, we all might have coping mechanisms or our go-to response that we are always used to repeat. For instance, it's a pattern that we're having and you know your pattern, so you've seen it, you've experienced it many times, and now you see it unfold once more. So here, it's very important to catch yourself before going back into your usual pattern and stop and look for your intuition again. Maybe it will make you go somewhere else this time. Maybe it will actually advise you to go through a third way, a new decision, and a new way to deal with the situation. So with all of this, I just want to give you a last advice. For intuition to come up, you can't force it. It's not something that is on demand. It comes when it comes. But to give it space and occasions to come, you need to create space for that. So you need to create pockets of time for yourself where you're not necessarily surrounded by 1,000 people, where you have some time for yourself. You might be doing something, you might have an activity, it might be walking, it might be yoga, it might be cleaning your apartment or something. But here your logical brain is occupied with whatever you're doing. And that is where in those moments you can feel the intuition pop up. You can't plan it, again, you can't force it, but you can have that space for it to come up. And that's very important. You need to create that space for your intuition to show up and guide you into what is really right for you. Thank you so much for watching this video until the end. I'm really happy that you found value in it, and I'm hoping you will implement some of these advices in your own life. If you like the video, like it or comment about how you're implementing these steps in your life or how you experience intuition. We have so many ways to experience intuition that would be super cool having your own experiences in the comments. And then if you want more content on that, I have recently done a video about how to deal with gaslighting. If you're a people pleaser, this is something that you might be confronted with. So check that video here. And thank you so much for watching again. I'll see you in the next video.